Theron Blackwell had been waiting for him at the villa where it ended, and she brought their 17-year-old daughter, the daughter he never knew existed, the daughter who looks exactly like him, the daughter who's about to learn that her father didn't just leave, he fired her mother while she was pregnant, planted false evidence to get her blacklisted, and built a $74 billion empire on the career he buried. Vesper is offering him one chance, 3 months to meet Margot, to earn the right to call himself her father, to prove he became someone worth knowing. If you're rooting for this story, pause for just a second. Subscribe so you don't miss what comes next, and drop a comment telling me where you're listening from. Alone at night, headphones on, lights off, or somewhere you shouldn't be. I read every comment. I want to know. But Margot already cracked her mother's encrypted files, found the emails, the recording of him bragging about handling the Ashland problem, and 20 minutes ago, she sent everything to the Financial Times. By the time he realizes what his daughter just did, the story will already be breaking, his board will be calling, and the empire he chose over them will start to collapse. This is what happens when a man finally faces the 2 women he abandoned and discovers that 17 years of silence doesn't mean 17 years of forgiveness. The villa in Portofino wasn't supposed to exist anymore. Theron had sold it in 2009, the year after Vesper left Onyx Ventures and disappeared from the tech world entirely. He'd needed the liquidity for the Series C round, needed to erase the place where he'd made promises he had no intention of keeping. Except he hadn't sold it. His lawyer had quietly bought it through a shell company, kept it maintained, kept it off the books. Theron told himself it was a hedge, a tax strategy. But the truth he'd refused to acknowledge for 17 years, was simpler and more pathetic. He couldn't let it go. And now Vesper knew. The email had arrived 3 days ago. No subject line, just an address, a date, and a time. Portofino, Saturday, 3 p.m. Come alone or I go public Monday. No signature, but Theron knew her syntax, the way she constructed sentences like legal arguments. Economical, airtight, devastating. He'd built Onyx Ventures into a $74 billion private equity empire by reading people, by knowing when to press and when to fold. But Vesper Ashland had always been unreadable. The only person who'd ever looked at him and seen past the performance to the hollow place beneath. The only person he'd ever actually loved. And the only person whose career he'd deliberately destroyed to protect his own. Part 1. The Arrival. Theron parked the Alfa Romeo at the base of the cliff road and walked the final quarter-mile to the villa on foot. The Mediterranean was violent today, gray-green and churning, nothing like the postcard blues tourists paid for. He could taste salt in the air. His chest felt tight. The villa's gate was open. He stepped through. Vesper was waiting on the terrace, her back to him, standing at the stone railing where they'd once stood together, planning the algorithm that would become Onyx's core valuation model. She wore linen trousers the color of sand and a loose black blouse. Her hair, dark, streaked with silver now, was pulled back in a low twist. She didn't turn when he approached. "You kept it," Vesper said. Her voice was exactly the same, low, precise, utterly controlled. "I kept it," Theron admitted. "Why?" "I don't know." "Yes, you do." Theron stopped 3 feet behind her, close enough to see the tension in her shoulders, far enough to maintain the lie that this was professional. "Where is she?" he asked quietly. Vesper turned then. 55 looked devastating on her. The years had carved elegance in her face, cheekbones sharper, eyes darker, a mouth that had forgotten how to soften. She was more beautiful than she'd been at 38, and Theron hated himself for noticing. "Inside," Vesper said, waiting. "Does she know?" "That you're her father, no. That you're Theron Blackwell, the man I once worked for, yes." Vesper's expression was unreadable. "She thinks you're here to discuss a potential investment in my consulting firm." "Your consulting firm?" "I expose corporate fraud for governments and NGOs. I've been doing it for 12 years. I'm very good at it." Of course she was. Vesper had always been the best forensic analyst he'd ever hired, the woman who could trace money through 18 shell companies and 3 tax havens before most people finished their morning coffee, the woman he'd framed for embezzlement when she'd discovered his own offshore accounts. "What do you want, Vesper?" She reached into her bag and withdrew a folder, set it on the iron table between them. "Open it." Theron's hands were steady as he opened the folder. Inside, 3 documents. The first was a paternity test, conclusive. 17-year-old Margot Ashland was his daughter. The second was a contract, 3 months, joint custody agreement, public acknowledgement, estate provisions. The third was an email chain, his email chain, from 2008, the fabricated evidence he'd planted to have Vesper fired and blacklisted from every major firm in Europe and North America, and below it, a recording file, time-stamped, his voice, drunk at a conference in Dubai, bragging to a venture capitalist about how he'd handled the Ashland problem. Theron felt the ground shift beneath him. "How long have you had this?" His voice was hoarse. 14 years. "Why didn't you?" "Destroy you?" Vesper's smile was cold. "Because I wanted to see if you'd do it yourself first, if guilt would find you, if you'd wake up one day and realize what you'd done." She paused. "You didn't." Theron closed the folder, set it down carefully as if it might detonate. "What do you want?" he asked again. 3 months. You meet Margot, you tell her the truth, all of it. You acknowledge her publicly as your father. You set up a trust that can't be touched by your board or your ex-wife's lie lawyers. And if you refuse, then Monday morning the recording goes to the Financial Times, The Guardian, and every major tech outlet in the world. Your board calls for your resignation by Tuesday. The SEC opens an investigation by Wednesday. Vesper's eyes were merciless. "You'll survive, Theron. Men like you always do. But Onyx won't. And the legacy, the thing you chose over me, over her, will be that you built an empire on fraud and cowardice. Take a breath and stay with me. Because this isn't a redemption story. This is a reckoning. And if you've ever wondered whether the people we destroy can forgive us, or whether forgiveness is even the point, you need to hear what happens when Theron meets the daughter he never wanted." Part 2. Margot. She had his eyes. That was the first thing Theron noticed when Vesper led him inside. The girl sitting in the villa's main room, his daughter, had his eyes. Dark gray-blue, the color of storm clouds over water, the same eyes that had stared back at him in mirrors for 61 years. Everything else was Vesper. The sharp intelligence in her expression, the way she sat, spine straight, hands folded, utterly composed, the skepticism radiating from her like heat. "Margot," Vesper said quietly, "this is Theron Blackwell." Margot stood, extended her hand. "Mr. Blackwell." Her grip was firm, professional. Theron felt something crack open in his chest. "Theron is fine," he managed. "Mom says you might invest in her firm."
Margot's tone was polite, but her eyes were assessing, cataloging. She was reading him the way Vesper used to read balance sheets, looking for the lie beneath the numbers. "That's one possibility," Theron said carefully. Vesper gestured to the sofa. "Sit, I'll make coffee." She left them alone. Margot sat back down, watching him with unnerving directness. "You're nervous," she observed. "Should I not be?"
Most men your age aren't nervous around 17-year-old girls. They're either condescending or inappropriate. She tilted her head. You're neither, which makes me think this isn't actually about business. Theron almost smiled. She was sharp, too sharp. Your mother speaks highly of you, he said. My mother doesn't speak highly of anyone. Margot's expression didn't change. What do you really want, Mr. Blackwell? Theron. Fine, Theron. What do you want? He could lie, should lie, but something in Margot's eyes, his eyes, stopped him. I want to know you, Theron said quietly. Margot's expression shifted, just slightly. Confusion, then calculation. Why? Because I think I should have known you a long time ago. Silence. Margot leaned back, arms crossed. Your mother said you worked together, that you were friends once. We were. What happened? I made a choice I shouldn't have made, and she paid for it. Margot studied him for a long moment. Then, she doesn't talk about you, not ever, but sometimes I catch her looking at old photos from her Onyx days, and she gets this look, like she's remembering something that hurts. She paused. Were you the one who hurt her? Theron's throat tightened. Yes. Margot nodded slowly. Then why are you here? Because she asked me to be. And you always do what she asks? No, Theron admitted. I never did. That was the problem. Vesper returned with coffee before Margot could respond. She set the tray down, poured 3 cups with the precision of a woman performing a familiar ritual, and sat beside her daughter. I'll leave you two alone if you'd like, Vesper said to Margot. No, Margot's voice was firm. I want you here. Vesper's expression softened, just for a moment, then the armor returned. Theron has something to tell you, something I should have told you years ago. Margot looked between them. What? Theron set down his coffee cup. His hands were shaking now, visibly. 17 years ago, Theron began, your mother and I worked together at a company I founded. We were close, closer than colleagues, closer than friends. Margot's eyes widened slightly. She was beginning to understand. She told me she was pregnant, Theron continued, and I made the worst decision of my life. I chose my company over her, over you. I let her walk away, and then I destroyed her career to protect my own reputation. The silence was absolute. Margot stood abruptly, walked to the window, stood with her back to them, shoulders rigid. You're my father, she said finally. Not a question, a statement. Yes, and you knew this whole time. No, Vesper said quickly. He didn't know you existed. I never told him I kept the pregnancy. That's on me. Margot turned, and her expression was incandescent with fury. Why? She demanded, looking at Theron. Why would you? How could you? She stopped, swallowed hard. Did you love her? Yes. Then why? Theron stood, kept his distance because Margot looked like she might shatter if he came closer. Because I was a coward, because I convinced myself the company mattered more than anything else, because I was 37 years old and terrified of losing control. He paused. There's no good reason, Margot, just reasons, and none of them are enough. Margot looked at Vesper. You raised me alone. You let me think my father was, what did you say? Someone who wasn't ready to be a parent? Her voice broke. You let me think he just didn't want me. Not that he, I'm sorry,
Vesper said, and for the first time, Theron heard her voice crack. "I thought I was protecting you. I thought if you didn't know who he was, you wouldn't what? Hate him? Be disappointed?" Margot laughed, sharp, bitter. "I've spent 17 years imagining a father who was maybe just scared, maybe just young, maybe just not ready." She looked at Theron. "But you weren't any of those things. You were a billionaire who chose money over people, over us." "Yes," Theron said simply. Margot stared at him, then turned and walked out of the room. Vesper stood to follow, but Theron caught his wrist. "Let her go," he said quietly. "Don't tell me. She needs time, space. Let her have it." Vesper pulled her hand away, but she didn't follow Margot, just stood there, trembling. "This is why I waited. This is why I didn't tell you, because I knew it would hurt her. It needed to happen. Did it, or did you just need your conscience cleared?" Theron absorbed the hit without flinching. "Both," he admitted, "but mostly I need her to know she has a father, even if he's a terrible one." "Here's what I need to know. Whose side are you on right now? Because Margot just learned her father is a man who destroyed her mother. Vesper just watched her daughter's heartbreak. And Theron is standing in the wreckage he created. Is there any version of this where he deserves forgiveness? Drop a comment. Tell me, because the deeper we go, the harder this gets." Part 3. Proximity. Margot didn't speak to Theron for 3 days. She stayed in her room, the villa's east wing, where the morning sun turned everything gold. Vesper brought her meals, sat with her, let her cry and rage and ask the questions that had no good answers. Theron stayed in the guest house at the edge of the property. He worked remotely, fielded calls from his COO, ignored the board's increasingly urgent emails about an upcoming acquisition. At night, he sat on the small terrace and looked at the main villa's lit windows and thought about the daughter he'd never known, the daughter who looked at him like a stranger, which he supposed he was. The fourth morning, Vesper knocked on his door at dawn. "She wants to talk to you," Theron said. "When?" "Now. Beach. She'll meet you at the cove." The cove was a 10-minute walk down a steep path cut into the cliff face. Theron had nearly died on this path once, drunk on grappa and Vesper's laughter, stumbling down in the dark because she'd bet him he couldn't make it without a flashlight. He'd won the bet, lost everything else. Margot was sitting on the rocks when he approached, bare feet in the water, staring at the horizon. She didn't turn when he approached. "Your mother speaks highly of you," Margot said. "That you built Onyx from nothing, that you saw things other investors missed." Theron sat on a rock a few feet away. "Your mother is generous." "No, she's not. She's precise. So if she says you were brilliant, you were, which makes what you did even worse. Yes. You knew better. You had options. You could have—" Margot stopped, took a breath. "I've spent 4 days trying to understand how someone smart enough to build an empire could be stupid enough to throw away the person who helped him build it." "I wasn't stupid," Theron said quietly. "I was selfish. There's a difference." "Is there?" "Stupid implies you don't know better. Selfish means you do, and you choose yourself anyway." Margot absorbed that. Then, "Do you have other children?" "No." "Were you married?" "Twice. Divorced twice. No children from either marriage." "Why not?" Theron looked out at the water. "Because I told myself I didn't want them, that I was too focused on work. But the truth is, I was afraid I'd ruin them the way I ruined everything else that mattered." "Self-awareness doesn't equal absolution," Margot said. "I know. Then why are you here?" "Because your mother gave me a chance I don't deserve, and because you deserve to decide for yourself whether you want me in your life."
Margot was quiet for a long time. Then, what would you have done? If Mom had told you she kept the pregnancy, would you have... Would it have changed anything? Theron wanted to lie, wanted to say, yes, of course, everything would have been different. But Margot had Vesper's ability to detect dishonesty, and she deserved the truth. I don't know, Theron had. I'd like to think it would have, but I was a different person then, harder, more afraid. He paused. The honest answer is probably not at first. Maybe not for years. At least you're honest. It's the least I can do. Margot stood, brushed sand from her jeans, looked down at him. I'm not going to call you Dad, she said. I'm not going to pretend this is some heartwarming reunion, but I'll try to know you, to let you try. Theron stood as well. That's more than I have any right to ask for. I know. Margot's expression was unreadable. But I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for me, because I want to know where I came from. All of it, even the ugly parts. She walked past him, back toward the path, then stopped. One question, Margot said, not turning around. Anything. Do you love her? My mom? Still? Theron's chest tightened. Yes. Margot nodded once, then disappeared up the cliff path. Part 4. The Estate. The contract Vesper had drafted was clinical in its precision. 3 months of joint custody, weekends at the villa. Theron would establish a trust, 30 million euros, untouchable by Onyx's board or any future legal entanglements. He would acknowledge Margot publicly as his daughter. He would make himself available for holidays, graduations, significant life events. In exchange, Vesper would bury the recording, the emails, the evidence that could dismantle everything he'd built. Theron signed without reading it twice. You should have your lawyer review this, Vesper said. They were sitting in the villa's study, the room where they'd once mapped out Onyx's expansion into Southeast Asia, arguing over valuations until 3 a.m, fueled by espresso and the electric charge of 2 people who knew they were falling in love, but refused to admit it. I'd trust you, Theron said. Vesper's expression flickered. You shouldn't. I know, but I do. She took the contract, filed it in her leather portfolio, poured 2 glasses of whiskey from the bottle on the sideboard, the same Lafroig they used to drink, Theron realized. She'd remembered. Why did you keep this place? Vesper asked, handing him a glass. I told you, I don't know. Theron. He took a long sip, let the burn ground him. Because it was the last place I was happy, the last place I was real, before I became what Onyx needed me to be. You chose that. I did. Do you regret it? Theron looked at her, at the silver in her hair, the lines around her eyes, the way she held herself, like a woman who'd survived a war and come out the other side with scars and strength and absolutely no illusions left. Every day, he said quietly. Vesper's hand tightened on her glass. Don't what? Don't look at me like that. Like what? Like you still... She stopped, set down the glass. We're not doing this, Theron. This isn't a second chance romance. This is a legal arrangement for our daughter's benefit. I know. Then stop looking at me like it's 2007. I can't. Try harder. But Vesper didn't leave the room, didn't move away, just stood there 3 feet from him, close enough that he could smell her perfume. Something dark and smoky, nothing like the light citrus she used to wear. You're different, Theron said. Of course I'm different. 17 years happened. You destroyed my career. I rebuilt it. I raised a daughter alone. I became someone who doesn't need you.
I know. Then why are you still here? Because you asked me to be. The contract says 3 months. It's been 2 weeks. I'll stay as long as you let me. Vesper's eyes were blazing now. You don't get to do this. You don't get to show up after 17 years and what? I hate that you're here. I hate that Margot looks at you and sees possibility. I hate that I kept this villa in my mind for 17 years, and now you're standing in it and I can't what? Vesper's hands came up. To push him away or pull him closer, he couldn't tell, but she didn't do either, just stood there, trembling. I can't remember why I stopped loving you, she whispered. Theron's chest felt like it was caving in. Vesper, don't say anything. She looked up at him and her eyes were wet. Just let me hate you. It's easier. I know. Then why are you making it so hard? Because I'm tired of pretending I don't love you. The kiss happened slowly, inevitably, like gravity. Vesper's mouth on his after 17 years, and it tasted like whiskey and fury and every conversation they'd never had. Her hands fisted in his shirt, his hands in her hair. 17 years of silence collapsing into a single moment that felt like drowning and surfacing all at once. When they broke apart, Vesper was crying. This doesn't change anything. I know. I still don't forgive you. I know. This is a mistake. Probably. But neither of them moved. If you felt that, if this landed, just drop a word. Any word. Ache. Ruin. Again. Whatever you're feeling right now. Because I need to know you're still here. Still believing 2 people this damaged can find their way back. Part 5. The Unraveling. Margot found them the next morning. Not together. Theron had gone back to the guest house at midnight. Vesper had stayed in her room. But Margot was sharp enough to read the change in the air, the way her mother moved differently, the way Theron looked at Vesper across the breakfast table. She didn't say anything, just watched them with those unnerving gray-blue eyes that missed nothing. On the 6th week, Margot asked Theron to teach her about Onyx. They sat in the study, Theron's laptop open, walking through cap tables and term sheets and the Byzantine structures of private equity. Margot absorbed it all, asked pointed questions, challenged his assumptions, caught the exact moment in 2011 when Onyx's valuation models stopped making ethical sense. This is where you shifted from investing in companies you believed in to investing in companies that would generate maximum returns regardless of impact. Theron leaned back. You sound like your mother. She taught me to read financial statements when I was 12. Margot's smile was sharp. She said if I was going to inherit anything from my father, I should at least understand what I was inheriting. Your mother knew you'd meet me someday. She hoped I wouldn't have to. Margot closed the laptop. But she also knew I'd ask questions, and she wanted me to have the tools to understand the answers. She's a better parent than I'll ever be. Obviously. Margot's tone was matter-of-fact, not cruel. But you're here now. That counts for something. Does it? I don't know. She still loves you, in case you're wondering. Theron's chest tightened. She told you that? She didn't have to. I've watched her my whole life keep everyone at arm's length. No serious relationships. No one meeting me until they'd been vetted for months. Margot paused. But you walked into this villa and I saw her armor crack. That only happens if there's something underneath worth protecting. Or something she's afraid of. Same thing. Margot stood. Just don't hurt her again, because if you do, I don't care how much money you have or how many lawyers you can afford. I will destroy you in ways the SEC can't even imagine. Theron believed her. Part 6. The Recording. On week 8, Vesper's phone rang at 2 in the morning. Theron heard her voice from the guest house, low, urgent, rising. Then steps, his door opening without knocking. Vesper stood in the doorway in a robe, face pale. Someone leaked it. Leaked what? The recording, the emails, everything. It's already on 3 major outlets. Your board is calling an emergency meeting for Monday morning.
Theron sat up slowly. How? I don't know. The files were encrypted, password protected. Only my lawyer and I had access. Your lawyer? No, Vesper was adamant. Rena wouldn't. She's been with me for 10 years. Then who? They both realized it at the same time. Margot, Vesper whispered. They found her in the study, laptop open, her face illuminated by the glow of news articles already multiplying across the web. Onyx Ventures founder accused of fraud. Recording reveals Blackwell framed former colleague. Tech billionaire's empire built on lies. What did you do? Vesper's voice was barely controlled. Margot looked up. Her expression was calm, resolved. What you should have done 17 years ago. Margot! No, Margot stood. You let him destroy you. You let him walk away. You built a whole life around protecting me from the truth and protecting him from consequences. She looked at Theron. But consequences are the only thing that changes people. Not love, not time, accountability. Theron felt the ground shift beneath him. You're right, he said quietly. I know I'm right. Margot, this will destroy his company, his reputation, everything. Good. Margot's voice was ice. He destroyed yours. Why should he keep his? Because... Vesper stopped, looked at Theron. Because I chose not to. I chose to give him a chance to do better. And has he? Margot demanded. Or has he just been playing a role for 8 weeks, knowing you had leverage, knowing he had to perform contrition to save himself? The question hung in the air. Theron could lie, could say he'd changed, could perform the redemption Margot clearly didn't believe in, but she had his eyes and Vesper's ability to see through deception. Both, Theron said finally. I've been performing, and I've been changing. They're not mutually exclusive. That's not good enough, Margot said. I know. Then why should she forgive you? Why should I? Theron walked to the window, looked out at the dark water, at the villa that had witnessed his greatest happiness and greatest failure. You shouldn't, he said. Forgiveness isn't something I can earn. It's something you give, or don't. And either way, I'll spend the rest of my life trying to be better than I was. Margot stared at him, then looked at Vesper. I'm sorry, she said, and for the first time, her voice wavered. I know this wasn't the plan, but I couldn't watch him get away with it, even if you were willing to let him. Vesper crossed the room, pulled Margot into her arms. I know. Part 7. The Reckoning. The board meeting happened Monday at 9 a.m. Swiss time. Theron attended via video link from the villa's study. Vesper sat beside him, not for support, but as witness. Margot watched from the doorway. The board's decision was unanimous. Theron Blackwell would step down as chairman and CEO effective immediately. He would retain his equity stake, but relinquish all operational control. An independent investigation would determine if criminal charges were warranted. When the screen went dark, Theron sat very still. I'm sorry, Vesper said quietly. Don't be, Theron looked at her. This is what should have happened 17 years ago. What will you do? I don't know. He stood, walked to the window.
Maybe nothing. Maybe everything. Maybe I'll spend the next decade trying to make amends I can never fully make. That sounds exhausting. Good. Margot stepped into the room. I'm not sorry I did it. I know. But I am sorry I didn't ask you first. She looked at Vesper. Both of you. Vesper reached for her daughter's hand. You did what you taught me to do. You saw injustice and you acted. I can't be angry at you for that. Even if it costs him everything? Even then. Margot looked at Theron. What now? Theron took a breath, let it out slowly. Now I become the father I should have been 17 years ago, not because it earns me anything, not because it redeems me, but because you're my daughter and you deserve better than absence. That's a low bar, Margot said. I know, but it's where I'm starting. Here's the question that breaks everything open. Can someone who lost everything they built through their own cowardice earn a second chance? Or is some damage so complete that the only thing left is to start over? Tell me what you think, because the ending depends on whether you believe people can be rebuilt or if they just learn to live in the ruins. Part 8, 6 months later. The villa in Portofino was quieter in winter. Theron had bought it back, officially this time, in his own name, had moved into the guest house permanently. Margot visited on weekends when she wasn't at university in Zurich. Vesper came once a month, sometimes with her daughter, sometimes alone. They didn't live together, didn't announce a relationship, didn't perform reconciliation for anyone's benefit, but they existed in proximity, in the same space, learning each other again, slowly, with the cautiousness of people who'd already survived one collapse and weren't eager for another. Theron had sold his remaining stake in Onyx, used the money to fund 3 separate initiatives: a scholarship program for women in tech, a whistleblower protection nonprofit, and a forensic accounting firm that investigated corporate fraud pro bono. Vesper consulted on all 3. You're trying to buy absolution, she'd told him once. No, Theron replied. I'm trying to spend the rest of my life doing something other than taking. I don't expect absolution. Good, because you're not getting it. But she kept showing up, kept sitting across from him at breakfast, kept letting him teach Margot about finance, about failure, about success and meaning. One night, after Margot had gone to bed, Vesper poured them both whiskey and sat on the terrace where it had all started. She's angrier at you than she admits, I know, but she's trying. That's more than I expected. It's more than I deserve. Vesper looked at him. Stop saying that. It's true. Maybe, but self-flagellation isn't the same as growth. She took a sip. You want to do better, then do better. Stop apologizing and start building something worth her forgiveness. Theron was quiet for a long moment. What if I can't? Asked he. Then you can't, but at least you'll have tried. Is that enough? For Margot? Maybe. For me? I haven't decided yet. What would it take? I don't know. She swirled the whiskey in her glass. Time, consistency, proof that this version of you, the one who shows up, who tries, who doesn't run when it gets hard, isn't just another performance. It's not. I know I want to believe that, but you don't. Not yet, but I'm still here. That has to mean something. Theron reached across the space between them, took her hand. She didn't pull away. It means everything, he said quietly. They sat like that for a long time, 2 people who destroyed each other and were now painstakingly trying to build something from the wreckage. Not a restoration, not a return to what was. Something new, something harder, something earned. Part 9. The Confession. Margot came to the villa alone in March. No warning, no text, just showed up on a Friday afternoon with a backpack and an expression Theron had learned to recognize. She had questions and she wanted answers. They walked the cliff path together. the same path where Theron had once stumbled drunk with Vesper, where Margot had confronted him 8 months ago. "I've been seeing a therapist," Margot said. "That's good. She asked me what I want from you, from this," she gestured vaguely at the space between them, "and I realized I don't know." "What did you tell her?" "That I'm angry, that I'm curious, that I want to hate you, but I can't quite manage it. Why can't I hate you?" Theron considered the question carefully. "Because hate requires certainty, and you're smart enough to know people are more complicated than the worst thing they've ever done." "That sounds like an excuse." "It's not, it's just true." Margot sat on a flat rock overlooking the water. Theron sat beside her. "Mom told me something last week," Margot said, "about the night she told you were pregnant." Theron went very still. "She said you didn't say anything for 7 minutes, just sat there, and she watched you decide, in real time, to choose the company over her, over me." "Yes. What were you thinking in those 7 minutes?" Theron looked out at the horizon, at the line where water met sky. "I was thinking about my father," he said quietly. "He was a surgeon, brilliant, driven, absent. I saw him maybe 2 hours a week my entire childhood, and I swore I'd never do that, never have children I couldn't show up for. And then, I was 37. Onyx was 6 months from our Series B. I was working 90-hour weeks, and I genuinely believed that having a child would turn me into him, so I chose not to. Except you did become him," Margot said, "just without the child."
Yes. And now? Now I'm 61 years old, and I'm trying to be the father I should have been at 37. Except you don't need a father anymore. You need... I don't even know what you need. Margot was quiet for a long time. "I need to know you're not going anywhere," she said finally. "That this isn't just guilt. That in 5 years or 10, you'll still show up." "I will." "How do I know that?" "You don't. Not yet." Theron looked at her. "But I'll keep showing up until you do." Margot nodded slowly. Then, "I'm going to study architecture at ETH. I start in September. Your mother told me. She's very proud." "Are you?" The question was so vulnerable, so quietly desperate, that Theron felt his throat close. "Yes," he managed. "So proud it terrifies me." Margot's eyes filled. She looked away quickly, but not before Theron saw it. "I'm going to disappoint you, eventually. Everyone does." "I know. And I'll probably disappoint you again, too." "You definitely will. But we'll keep trying anyway." Margot almost smiled. "That's optimistic." "Your mother's influence." "She's not optimistic, she's pragmatic." "Same thing when you've survived what she has." They sat in silence, watching the water, 2 people learning how to be father and daughter 17 years too late. Finally, Margot stood. "I'm going back inside, but thank you for answering." "Anytime." She walked a few steps, then stopped. "Theron?" "Yes?" "I think, eventually, I might be able to call you Dad, but not yet. I'll wait, as long as it takes." Margot nodded, then disappeared up the path. Part 10. The Truth. Vesper came to the villa in April, alone, late at night. She let herself in with the key Theron had given her months ago, a gesture that had felt both monumental and insufficient. He found her on the terrace, staring at the water. "Couldn't sleep?" he asked. "I need to tell you something." Theron's chest tightened. "Okay." Vesper turned to face him. In the moonlight, she looked younger, softer, terrified.
I lied to you," she said, "about why I kept the pregnancy." Theron went very still. "I told you it was because I didn't want Margot raised by a man who saw her as a mistake, and that was part of it, but it wasn't the whole truth." "What's the whole truth?" "I kept her because I wanted to keep you, some part of you, the version I fell in love with." Vesper's voice cracked. "I knew you'd chosen Onyx. I knew it was over, but I couldn't let you go completely, so I kept the one piece of you I could." Theron felt something break open in his chest. "Vesper. And then when you framed me, when you destroyed my career, I hated myself for still loving you, for raising a daughter who had your eyes and your stubbornness and your brilliance, for not being able to erase you no matter how hard I tried. Why are you telling me this now? Because I'm tired of pretending I'm doing this for Margot, or for justice, or for closure." Vesper's eyes were blazing now. "I brought you here because I never stopped loving you, and I needed to know if the man I loved was still in there somewhere, or if he was gone forever." "And?" Theron's voice was barely a whisper. "I don't know yet." She stepped closer. "But I think he might be, and that terrifies me more than anything." Theron closed the distance between them, cupped her face in his hands. "I love you," he said. "I loved you at 37, and I love you now at 61, and I will love you when I'm 80 and you're still too smart for your own good. And I don't expect you to say it back. I don't expect forgiveness. I just need you to know." Vesper's hands came up to cover his. "I hate that I love you," she whispered. "I hate that 17 years and all this damage didn't kill it." "I know. This is a terrible idea." "Probably. We're going to hurt each other again." "Maybe." "Theron." He kissed her, slow, deliberate, like a promise he was finally ready to keep. When they broke apart, Vesper was crying. "Don't leave me again," she said. "Never." "I mean it. If you're going to stay, then stay. Don't run when it gets hard. Don't choose something else over us." "I won't." "How do I know that?" "You don't, not yet." Theron looked at her. "But I'll keep showing up until you do. Before we finish, before you find out if this story ends in redemption or just survival, I need to know, do you believe forgiveness is possible? Not easy, not clean, but possible? Tell me, because what happens next depends on whether people can be more than the worst thing they've ever done. 2 years later. The wedding was small, just Margot, Vesper's sister, Theron's brother, who he hadn't spoken to in 10 years, but who flew in from Melbourne anyway, a handful of close friends, a judge who'd known Vesper's father. They married at the villa in Portofino, on the terrace where everything had started and ended and started again. Margot stood beside her mother as maid of honor. She'd finally called Theron Dad 6 months ago, not in a moment of high emotion, just casually while they were arguing about the best way to value a startup. Just, "Dad, you're wrong about the dilution math." Theron excused himself to the bathroom and cried for 10 minutes. The vows were brief, honest, no poetry, no grand declarations. Just, "I choose you, every day, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. And I forgive you, not because you earned it, but because I'm tired of carrying it." After the ceremony, Margot pulled Theron aside. "I have something for you," she said. She handed him a folder. Inside, architectural drawings, plans for a foundation headquarters, clean lines, light-filled spaces, a building designed to last. I'm designing the new offices for your whistleblower nonprofit, if you want me to. Theron's hands were shaking. It's perfect, he managed. You know, Margot smiled, the first fully unguarded smile she'd ever given him. I'm your daughter. We don't do anything halfway. Theron pulled her into a hug. She let him. Thank you for giving me a chance. Thank you for not wasting it. That night, after everyone had left, Theron and Vesper sat on the terrace alone. Do you think we made the right choice? Vesper asked. Which one? Marrying, forgiving, trying? All of it. Theron took her hand. I think we made the only choice we could live with. That's not the same thing. No, but it's enough. Vesper leaned into him. I still angry sometimes at what you did, at what I lost. I know. And I still don't fully trust you not to run. I know that too. But I'm trying. So am I. They sat in silence, two people who'd destroyed each other and somehow found a way to build something new from the ruins. Not perfect, not healed, but present, trying, loving each other with eyes open and scars visible. Theron, said Vesper quietly. Yes? I'm glad you came back. So am I. This is where the story ends. Not with redemption fully earned, not with wounds fully healed, but with two people who chose each other, again and again and again until choosing became the point. If you stayed until the end, if you felt every word, if this reminded you of your own second chances or the ones you're still waiting for, subscribe. These are the stories we tell at midnight, the ones that cost something, the ones that don't end clean. Drop one word below. What are you feeling right now? Forgiveness? Hope? Ache? Relief? I'll be here, listening, remembering. He wasn't supposed to recognize her, not after 17 years, but some people you carry forever, even when they've carried the weight of you.